So the other day I was hanging out with Jay-Z, which is difficult for me because I'm shy. And we were kind of having this weird stare-down standoff. And we weren't sure who was going to say what or who was going to talk first. It was one of those, like you're fully engaged and you're looking at each other and you're just in that suspended animation moment of, oh my God, I can say something and it's on the tip of my tongue. All I have to say is hi, but it kind of looks like he's about to say it. So I'm going to wait it out for a second, and you wait it out and you suddenly realize, oh my gosh, he's thinking the same thing. And you can kind of see the little little breaths that you take. I mean, the one I just did with an exaggeration, but this kind of little that kind of thing. And then of course naturally I say hi and he says hi, at basically the same time. I think I said a little earlier. That doesn't mean anything. I'm not trying to make a statement by saying that, but I think that was the precise timing of it. And aside from that, it was cool. He's a really nice guy, and we shook hands, and we compared the length of our clothes and albums. And he's taller than me, which is cool. So I can rightly say that I look up to him, which I do. Not artistically, but just physically, because I've been outspoken about my opinions on hip-hop and rap, and I stand by it. I don't care if you can sell records. I just care if you're a melody maker, and hip-hop doesn't have any melody makers. So I really wanted to get into hip-hop back in 2006, and I approached Jay-Z after he had approached me a few months earlier. That was back when I was working with my publicist Heathcliff, who I no longer work with for legal reasons. And I said, listen, Z, or whatever you call yourself, that's what I call him. Isn't that funny? I call him Z because I was trying to be kind of badass. I said, listen, I'm coming at this from the perspective of a scientist, less so than a culture person, because I don't follow hip-hop culture. I think it's infectious, and I don't... Well, I didn't say that to him. I guess I'm just starting to get on my soapbox again. Sorry, I'll go back. So I just told him, listen, I don't know a lot about hip-hop culture. So, I'm just gonna completely eschew the whole, references to drugs and references to women, but using the slang for those references, the slang reference terms for women. I know a few of them, like hoe and biddy and all that, all that stuff. You know what I'm talking about. I'm not gonna do that. And I basically proposed that I would make, lots of beats, rhythms and melodies for him, and that I'd write some dummy lyrics and just see what happens. And he agreed, and I gave him all this material, and he said, long and short of it is, he said, thanks but no thanks. So here we are 6 years later. It's 2012, and we're just waiting for the Mayans to come and set the entire world ablaze. We didn't know what was going to happen. It was like Y2K, just complete, utter frightenedness, for lack of a better term, frightenedness. We were just all so filled with frightenedness. So we were all hunched over, in our little closets and coteries and boudoirs and basements and shacks and sheds, office buildings, in-ground pools covered in tarps, school auditoriums, boiler rooms. Oh my God, are we in Sturbridge already? Oh my God, that's so funny. Weird. Anyway, and, offices of churches, the rectories, and the funny thing about all of this, not to get all, like, isn't it ironic, don't you think? But the funny thing about all of this is that Jay-Z was building this big crystal sculpture. And the interesting thing about the sculpture was that he didn't want to tell anyone what the subject was and what he was building this, crystal sculpture into. And he was intentionally obscuring, where he was going with it. So he'd work tirelessly, with chisel in hand, and work on this one little area, and you're starting to guess, what is it? Is it a head? Is it a foot? Is that a person? Or is that, is that a tree? Is it a woods? Is it a chipmunk? Is it a mailbox? Those kind of things. Is it a sign? It's a fire hydrant. Okay, yeah. But, every time you're starting to think that you know what it is, he'd suddenly he'd sense it, because he's a very intuitive guy. He's an empath level 5, and he would just zip over to a different part of the sculpture, and start working in the same manner on another part of the sculpture. And it was really amazing to watch, but you just couldn't guess what the guy was doing. You couldn't guess where he was going. Where is he going to take this? What's it going to become? And that's just a whole other story, and I'll have to finish that story some other time. I know we're out of time, but long story short, to answer your question about Jay-Z, the long and the short of it, well, I guess the short of it, because I have to shorten. Okay, we're out of time. Well, basically, the short answer was no. Okay, thank you for having me. Okay. So, yes, we are playing, we're playing in Wilkes-Barre, and we'll be playing a short set of about 13 songs from our record, Part 7. And, okay, all the details, I'm out of time. Okay, well, all the details are on www.zanga.com/Ruben Smiley. Thank you for having me.